Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. A Vermont native is President Biden's choice to head the United States Department of Agriculture's rural development programs in Vermont and New Hampshire. Rural development is the area within the USDA committed to improving the economy and quality of life in rural America. Nationally, USDA Rural Development administers about $16 billion in loans and grants through their programs. And to learn more about rural development, I'm joined by Sarah Waring. Sarah is the USDA State Director of Rural Development for Vermont and New Hampshire. Congratulations on your appointment, Sarah, and thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Fran. Good to see you.
So tell us about USDA Rural Development and the role it plays in our communities.
Sure. I like to think about rural development as the community side of the agricultural mission of USDA. We increase economic opportunity and improve quality of life for rural communities, but that means it's about housing, it's about rural business, and it's about community utilities and facilities. So we give grants and loans, and we guarantee loans to families to move into their first house, for small businesses to jumpstart their enterprises, and for municipalities to build out their systems like wastewater and stormwater and their buildings like their libraries or town halls.
Okay, pretty vast. And most recently, you worked at the Vermont Community Foundation as Vice President for Grants and Community Investments. So what did you learn? What do you take from the foundation about funding for communities and initiatives to help close that opportunity gap for our areas most vulnerable?
You know, what I learned at the Community Foundation is also fundamental to the approach of rural development, that this is about a whole picture of community. It's about the system, or really the ecosystem of conditions that impact our most vulnerable. At the foundation, we were addressing educational opportunities at key moments in a person's life and supports for youth and family and community vitality. At rural development, we support self-sufficiency through housing and making sure communities are vibrant and the economies have jobs to offer these people. So both places address these challenges to community in like a systems-based way.
So coming up on your new position, what are your major areas of focus? These are areas you know very well. What are you focused on?
You know, right now there are three big things for us. The first is economic recovery from the pandemic. The next is climate resilience. And the third is equitable access to our programs. I'm really excited about these priorities because they tie together all of our grant and loan programs. For example, we could help a homeowner to improve efficiency by upgrading their own house and lowering their energy costs. And then we can work with a municipality to create a cleaner and more effective wastewater system. And then we could work with a business to install a solar array. So really, this cuts across all of our work. But we're also charged to bring the supply chain for food production closer to home. So this means, and this is close to my heart, local food systems, local businesses growing jobs through production and marketing and distribution. And then finally, underserved communities. Our staff always reaches out to our rural communities, folks who may not have access to our programs, but we're going to be going deeper and working with Vermonters and New Hampshireites of the global majority, BIPOC Vermonters, and their communities as well.
Wonderful, great to hear. And so affordable housing, clearly, as you've mentioned it, and it's on a lot of people's minds these days. What is USDA Rural Development doing when it comes to housing?
We have two focus areas in affordable housing. One is for multifamily housing. And that's really about rental properties that are geared to folks who are eligible, low income, elderly, disabled, as well as domestic farm laborers. And as you know, Fran, there's this incredible network across the state of Vermont who's dealing with the multifamily housing, the Housing Finance Authority, VHCB, local nonprofits, all working to do this as well. But the other part of the housing work is through our single family housing. And this is where we help to finance or repair or even refinance a home for a single family. And I love this because home ownership is a sense of security, a sense of success. It's a legacy you can pass on to your kids. It's hard to manage, right? A leaky roof or a failing heat system is like never fun to deal with, but it also means you get to put down roots, and you get to garden and you get to build and you get to fix and create your own vision for your home. And this is where USDA shows up. This family that you see here, the Martiz family in Middlebury. Tito is a special education teacher and his wife is a yoga teacher, and they're raising their son for the very first time in their own home. And seeing that joy and commitment is so inspiring.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Home ownership is so much about really belonging. Talk about belonging. Then you're really connected. So energy efficiency is also a very important topic. You mentioned climate resiliency as an agency priority. How is the USDA addressing this issue here in our region?
Yeah. So this is another one that for me cuts across all of our program areas. So I talked about some of the things you could do in your own home. You could retrofit your windows, doors, make your house more energy efficient through our programs. But you could also do that at a community level. I just visited a school in New Hampshire where we helped to retrofit the entire lighting system to make it smart lighting and to make it more energy efficient, saving them a lot of costs. But then you could build a solar array for your town hall, purchase energy efficient equipment for a hospital. And for businesses, particularly agricultural businesses, we want to expand their renewable energy in particular. We know that fuel and feed costs are some of the highest and the most uncontrollable for farm operations. So we're looking to fund solar arrays and high efficiency heating machines, different kinds of biofuels, et cetera, through our Rural Energy for America program. This is Foster Farm Botanicals. This is just one example. They used rural development funds to install a solar array that's going to offset as much as 9% of their energy costs over time.
Wow, well, and that's so important today because we just don't know where some of these expenses are gonna go right now. And it's also no secret that our region's small businesses have been hit hard by the pandemic. Energy efficiency might be far down on the to-do list for those just trying to keep their doors open. So how does rural development help mom and pop stores apart from lowering their energy costs?
You know, you're absolutely right. It may not be the first thing to think of as a solar array, right? But we've worked with businesses from Gagnon Lumber to Sweet Rowan Farms. We're all about helping to create jobs in the local communities through small business. Our role with the business programs is to support ag markets and the bio-based economy with capital, with training, with education, and with entrepreneurial skills. We also guarantee local lenders to make more loans. And then we work with service providers around technical assistance, and we support rural business incubators. So, for example, one of the things we do is to help expand markets for our local producers. And we do this often through value adding a product. So 3 recent value added partners we've worked with are Runamuck Maple, Ellison Estate Vineyards, and Kate Hill Orchards, all different types of products right from here in Vermont. But now they can grow into new markets because they are taking that raw product to a next step of production or value add. And this means a lot of, localized supply chain work. But it's also important to mention that one of the other costs that's not controllable is about the systems that you plug into as a small business. So when we help to improve, for example, water and wastewater in local communities, this is an example in Montpelier. It was a design build organics to energy wastewater treatment facility. It's going to process high strength organics in the waste stream and then send excess energy to the city's grid. So this is crucial because it reduces the business costs of disposal, and the energy generated is enough to run the city's wastewater treatment facility and put energy back into the municipal power grid.
Right, I love that project. Anyway, agricultural producers also play a big part in another priority you highlighted, COVID recovery, including food security. So how do you tackle this issue apart from all the help that you give farmers and producers?
Fran, I wish we could solve farm viability, job creation, and food security all at the same time, right? We have this global economic system that doesn't pay for all the value that we create in our local communities, nor does it always support the basic needs of our neighbors. So in general, USDA uses its food and nutrition services, particularly supplemental nutritional assistance, SNAP, or the emergency food assistance programs, TFAP, to help fight hunger. But what we've seen in Vermont after the pandemic is these incredibly creative local solutions. Vermont's Produce to Pantry program, the Everyone Eats program, that tie together farm viability, local job creation, and food security or emergency food assistance, all about feeding ourselves first and supporting farms at the same time. So what I will say is that with the upcoming Farm Bill, the chances to help solve the hunger and nutrition security and even health equity are there for us. This is a place, I think, where Vermonters and the work that we've done after the pandemic can really show the way.
Great. And I know you're just getting started, but what projects are you particularly proud of or excited about quickly before we end?
Sure. I love it when a project ties together a lot of funding, federal, state, local. I will say that's hard to do at the local level, and you need a really good champion. So one of these champions is Mary Feldman at the Parent-Child Center of Rutland. Under her leadership, they've been working for years to expand their space for childcare into an open access, community-centered facility with classrooms, but more than that, community garden, private counseling spaces, expanding their early education spots, and working really closely with local educators, as well as addiction recovery. Really, this open access community hub model. We're looking at a lot of infrastructure like this. There's more funding coming for infrastructure through the bipartisan infrastructure law. And this is the kind of project we really want to fund and get involved in. It's innovative, it's visionary, and we're happy to find them all over the state wherever we can.
Okay, and I hope they find you too. So if you'd like to learn more about the USDA rural development or apply for programs or services in Vermont or New Hampshire, you can call 802-828-6080 or check the websites we've listed here on the screen, rd.usda.gov/VT or /NH. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us, and all the best to you in your new position.
Thanks so much, Fran. Good to be here.
And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.